In this video, we're breaking down Renato Moicano and Chris Duncan. We'll compare both fighters across 16 skills to see who truly holds the edge in each phase of the fight. You'll see where each man is dangerous, where they're vulnerable, and later in the video, we reveal their clearest path to victory and their vital index score. Renato Moicano is a technical, well-rounded lightweight who thrives on structure and smart decision-making. On the feet, he uses clean boxing fundamentals and sharp combinations to control distance and accumulate damage. Where Moicano really becomes dangerous is in transitions, blending striking with opportunistic grappling in a very slick ground game. His experience against high-level competition shows in how calmly he manages pace, reads openings, and capitalizes when opponents make mistakes. When Moicano gains momentum, his composure and technical depth allow him to steadily take control of a fight. Moicano is highly skilled, but his style can run into problems when fights become chaotic or power-heavy. On the feet, he can be vulnerable when a pressure-heavy, aggressive striker forces fast exchanges. His defensive striking has shown openings, particularly against opponents willing to walk him down. And while his grappling is dangerous offensively, failed takedown attempts can leave him stuck in physical battles where momentum shifts quickly. When opponents disrupt his rhythm and force uncomfortable exchanges, Moicano's effectiveness can dip. Chris Duncan is an aggressive, pressure-driven lightweight who thrives in high-energy fights. He pushes forward with a mix of powerful strikes and relentless grappling, constantly forcing opponents to deal with his pace and physicality. Duncan is especially dangerous when he creates chaos, blending punches, clinch pressure, and takedown attempts to keep opponents reacting instead of settling into rhythm. When he establishes momentum early, his combination of toughness, pressure, and finishing instincts can quickly swing the fight in his favor. Chris Duncan is dangerous when he's pressing forward, but that aggression can create openings. His striking defense can be loose in exchanges, and when he rushes into range, he can absorb clean counters. Duncan also tends to rely heavily on momentum. When opponents slow the pace, manage distance, or force him into technical rounds, his effectiveness can dip. If the fight becomes structured rather than chaotic, his decision-making and defensive gaps can start to show. Now we look at both fighters at the fighter index tell of the tape. Renato Moicano brings the deeper resume with a 27-1 overall record and a 12-7 run in the UFC, while Chris Duncan enters at 15-2 overall with a 6-1 record. Physically, the matchup is very close. Moicano stands 5'11" and just an inch taller than Duncan at 5'10". In reach, Moicano holds a slight edge at 72 inches compared to 71.5 for Duncan. Stylistically, both fighters compete from an orthodox stance, creating a matchup where experience and skill differences may matter more than the physical advantages. Moicano enters this fight on a 2-fight skid, while Duncan rides a 4-fight win streak. In knockout victories, Duncan holds the edge 7-2, showing more finishing power on the feet. In submissions, Moicano leads 10-4, reflecting his dangerous submission game. Both fighters can finish early, with 6 first-round finishes for Duncan and 4 for Moicano. But when fights go the distance, Moicano has the advantage with 8 decision wins compared to 4 for Duncan. Now it's time to break these fighters down using the fighter index scale. We break down each phase of the fight and score each skill to better understand the strengths and the weaknesses of a fighter's game. All fighter index scores are based on a scale of 1 to 10. Scores are subjective and can change as a fighter evolves from fight to fight. Here's how it works. There are 4 pillars that represent a skill set, and 4 skills that make up a pillar. Each skill is scored and the number value represents a level, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Then, at the end of the video, we take those values and we give each fighter a fighter index score based on the scores of the skill within the pillars. Pillar 1, Fight IQ and Athletic Tools. Renato Moicano starts with the edge in Fight IQ, scoring at 8 compared to Chris Duncan at 6, reflecting Moicano's experience, composure, and ability to manage the fight strategically. In athleticism, the advantage flips, where Duncan leads 8-6, bringing more explosive and physical intensity. In stamina, they're even at 7 apiece, both capable of maintaining solid pace across 3 rounds. And in resolve, Duncan holds a slight edge 8-7, showing a willingness to push through adversity and keep the pressure on. Overall, this pillar slightly favors Chris Duncan because of his athletic edge and toughness under fire. In Pillar 2, Striking and Stand-Up Defense, Moicano and Duncan trade small advantages across the board. In striking, Duncan holds the edge 7-6, bringing a bit more power and a bit more aggression in open exchanges. In the clinch, the advantage flips to Moicano 7-6, where his positional awareness and control help him manage tight-range battles. In striking defense, they're even at 6 apiece, both capable of avoiding damage but still hittable in exchanges. And in chin, Duncan again takes a slight lead, 7-6, showing a bit more durability under pressure. With the advantages in offensive striking and durability, this pillar slightly leans to Chris Duncan. In Pillar 3, grappling and control, Renato Moicano holds the advantage across the board against Chris Duncan. In wrestling, Moicano leads 7-6, showing the ability to initiate and dictate grappling exchanges. In takedown offense, he again scores 7-6, with a more consistent ability to bring fights to the mat. In top control, Moicano maintains that same 7-6 edge, reflecting his ability to stabilize position and keep opponents grounded. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he once again scores 7-6, giving him a more dangerous submission game on the mat. With advantages in every grappling category, this pillar clearly favors Renato Moicano. In Pillar 4, defense, scrambles, and ground survival, Moicano again holds the advantage over Duncan. In takedown defense, Moicano leads 7-6, showing a slightly stronger ability to keep the fight where he wants it. In BJJ defense, the gap widens with Moicano scoring 8 to Duncan's 6, reflecting his high-level submission awareness and safety on the ground. Off the back, Moicano again holds the edge, 7-5, remaining dangerous even when fighting from the bottom position. The only category that's even is scrambles, where both fighters score a 7, showing solid ability to transition during grappling exchanges. Overall, this pillar clearly favors Renato Moicano. If we've scored all 4 pillars, we can step back and look at how those advantages are likely to show up when the fight unfolds. Starting with Pillar 1, Fight IQ and Athletic Tools, Chris Duncan holds the edge here thanks to his explosiveness and physical intensity. That likely means Duncan will try to push the pace early, using his athleticism to pressure Moicano and force exchanges before the fight settles into a slower rhythm. Moving to Pillar 2, Striking and Stand-Up Defense, Duncan again has a slight advantage. If the fight stays standing, expect Duncan to be the fighter initiating the exchanges, throwing with more aggression and trying to land the heavier shots in open space. But when the fight moves into Pillar 3, Grappling and Control, the momentum shifts towards Moicano. His edge in wrestling, takedown offense, and top control means he'll likely look to slow the fight down, mix in takedowns, and turn the match into longer grappling exchanges. And finally, in Pillar 4, Defense, Scrambles, and Ground Survival, Moicano again holds the advantage. His stronger submission awareness and comfort in grappling positions can make extended ground exchanges more dangerous for Duncan. So across the pillars, the matchup becomes a clash of environments. Duncan's advantages show up in fast-paced striking exchanges, while Moicano's advantages begin to take over once the fight moves into the grappling arena. And that contrast gives us a clear idea of how each fighter can win this fight. Now we look at each fighter's path to victory based on what we learned from the 4 pillars. Renato Moicano wins this fight by leaning into his technical advantages, turning the matchup into a grappling battle. Against Chris Duncan, Moicano's clearest edge comes from his fight IQ and his control in the grappling phases. If he mixes in takedown attempts, secures top position, and forces Duncan to deal with the submission threat, he can slow the pace and take away Duncan's explosive momentum. Moicano is also comfortable defending takedowns and attacking from the bottom, which makes prolonged grappling exchanges dangerous for Duncan. If Moicano keeps the fight structured, controls position, and turns the fight into a technical grappling match rather than a chaotic striking battle, the matchup starts to favor his experience and well-rounded skill set. Chris Duncan wins this fight by leaning into his athletic advantages and turning the fight into a high-pressure striking battle. Against Renato Moicano, Duncan's best path is keeping the fight standing, pushing a fast pace and forcing Moicano into exchanges where his power and durability can make a difference. If Duncan uses his explosiveness to close the distance, pressures Moicano against the cage, and lands the heavier shots, he can disrupt Moicano's rhythm and prevent the fight from settling into grappling sequences. The key for Duncan is making the fight physical, aggressive, and chaotic, the kind of environment where his athleticism and pressure can overwhelm Moicano's more technical approach. When the scores are totaled, Renato Moicano finishes with a 6.9 fighter index score compared to 6.4 for Chris Duncan. That edge reflects Moicano's stronger advantages in the grappling phases and his higher fight IQ, which allow him to control where the fight takes place. Duncan's athleticism, power, and pressure keep the matchup competitive, but the index suggests that Moicano holds the more complete skill set across the 4 pillars. On paper, the numbers lean Moicano, though Duncan's explosiveness means the fight can shift quickly when he forces the right kind of exchanges. And that's the breakdown for Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan using the fighter index. Now the question is, do you agree with the numbers? Does Moicano's technical grappling edge win out, or can Duncan's pressure and athleticism get his hand raised? Let me know your picks in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next fighter index analysis.